Welcome to Better English.
Speak English with confidence.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of our podcast, Better English. My name is David, and I am very happy to be here with you today. This podcast is a place where we help you improve your English skills by listening to slow, clear, and natural conversations. Today, we have a very exciting topic that people all over the world are talking about. We are going to talk about the Winter Olympics, specifically the Games in Milano Cortina 2026.
Hello, I am Grace, and I am also very excited for today's show. David is right. This topic is huge. We are going to talk about the Winter Olympics. It is a time when the best athletes in the world come together to compete on snow and ice. I love the Olympics because they feel like a big party for the whole world. Even if you do not like sports, there is always something amazing to see, and the energy is just wonderful.
That is so true, Grace. These games are going to be in Italy, which is a beautiful country with a lot of history and amazing food. But Italy also has some of the most beautiful mountains in Europe. It is going to be a very interesting place for the Games because they are using two different areas, the big, modern city of Milan and the quiet, snowy town of Cortina. This is a very new idea for the Olympics.
Yes, Milan is very famous for fashion, but Cortina is a peaceful town in the mountains. Bringing these two places together means the athletes and the fans will see two different sides of Italy. I think it is a great way to show the world how diverse the country is. In this podcast, we want to help you learn the English words you need to talk about these events, from the sports to the history and even the mascots.
I agree, it is a very big job to prepare for the Olympics. They have to build places for the athletes to sleep and places for the fans to watch the sports. In this podcast, we want to help you learn the English words you need to talk about these events. We will talk about the different sports, the history of the games, and even the mascots. It is going to be a long and fun conversation for everyone.
Before we dive into all the details, we want to say a quick thank you to all our listeners. We are so happy that you are using our podcast to practice your English. If you like what we do, please remember to like this episode and subscribe to our channel. It helps us keep making more lessons for you. We really appreciate your support every single day, and it keeps us motivated to make more content.
Yes, thank you so much. Now let's get back to the Olympics. Grace, when you think about the Winter Games, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? For me, it is the feeling of the cold air and the sound of the wind in the mountains. I think about how difficult it must be to be an athlete in such cold weather. You have to be very strong and very focused to perform well when it is freezing outside.
That is a good point, David. I usually think about the colors. I think about the white snow, the blue sky, and the bright clothes that the athletes wear. Everything looks so clean and beautiful on the television. It makes me want to go to the mountains myself. I also think about how fast everything is. Winter sports are usually much faster than summer sports because the ice is so slippery and everything is about speed.
That is a very interesting question, Grace. To understand the Winter Olympics, we have to look back in time. The first official Winter Olympic Games happened in 1924. They were held in a beautiful place called Chamonix in the French Alps. At that time, it was not even called the Winter Olympics yet. It was called International Winter Sports Week. It was such a big success that the leaders of the Olympic Committee decided to make it a permanent event.
It really does. Imagine ice skating in the middle of a hot summer day. I am glad they gave winter sports their own special time. Back in 1924, there were only about 16 countries and only a few hundred athletes. Now, we have thousands of athletes from almost 100 different countries. Another interesting thing is that for a long time, the Summer and Winter Games happened in the same year. This only changed in 1994.
Exactly, and that change helped the Winter Olympics grow even more popular. When we talk about the history, we also have to talk about the spirit of the Games. One of the most famous symbols is the 5 colored rings. You see them everywhere. These rings represent the 5 main regions of the world. The rings are joined together because the Olympics are about bringing people together in peace. It does not matter where you are from. Everyone comes together to celebrate hard work and friendship.
I love that idea of friendship through sports. It is not just about winning, it is about doing your best. Of course, the medals are very famous too. There is gold for first place, silver for second, and bronze for third. Did you know that some athletes have made history by winning medals in both the Summer and Winter Olympics? It is very rare, but it shows how talented some people are. As we look forward to Milano Cortina 2026, we are celebrating history.
It is a wonderful tradition. And speaking of history, Italy has a very special connection to the Winter Olympics. This is not the first time the Games are coming to Italy. The town of Cortina d'Ampezzo actually hosted the Games a long time ago, in 1956. Then, in 2006, the Games were in Turin. So Milano Cortina 2026 is actually the third time Italy is hosting the Winter Olympics. This is great because Italy has many people who love winter sports.
That is amazing. I didn't know they had the Games in Italy that many times. I think the Italian people are very passionate about sports. You can really feel that energy when you watch the Games on TV. I also like that they are using the mountains and the city together. It shows that the Olympics can change and become more modern while still keeping the traditions from 1924 and 1956. It is like a bridge between the old and the new.
That is the best part of the Olympic spirit. It is not just about the past, it is about the future. For the 2026 Games, they are choosing two mascots that are very cute. They are two sister ermines named Tina and Milo. Tina represents Cortina and Milo represents Milan. Using mascots is a fun way to help children and families get excited about the history we are making today. It shows that even a very old competition can still be fresh and fun.
I think the mascots are a great idea. Tina and Milo are very cute. I read that they were actually designed by students in a school contest. That makes it even more special. Tina is the white one, and Milo is the brown one. Milo is also very special because he was born without one paw, but he uses his tail to help him walk. It is a beautiful message about being strong and not letting anything stop you from your dreams.
Now that we have talked about the history, let's look at the sports. In the Milano Cortina 2026 Games, the ice events are very important. Most of these events will take place in the city of Milan. This is great for the fans because they can stay in a big city and go to the modern arenas very easily. The first sport I want to talk about is figure skating. This is often called the art of the Winter Olympics because it is so beautiful and elegant.
Yes, like figure skating. This is my favorite sport to watch. It is very beautiful. Sometimes it feels more like a show than a competition. The skaters move with so much grace. They have to practice for many years to be able to do those jumps. I heard that even a small mistake can lose them a medal, so they have to be very careful. It is a very emotional sport to watch because you can see how much they care about their performance.
It is like dancing, but the floor is made of ice. The skaters wear special boots with sharp metal blades on the bottom. In figure skating, there are different events. Some people skate alone, and others skate in pairs. They perform to music and do amazing things like jumps and spins. It is very beautiful, but it is also very difficult because the ice is slippery and the movements are very fast. You need a lot of balance and many years of practice to succeed.
I agree they are very strong, but I also like the team spirit in ice hockey. It is a very popular sport in countries like Canada, the United States, and many places in Europe. The players have to communicate with each other all the time. It is a very loud game because the puck hits the sticks and the walls of the arena. It is definitely one of the loudest sports in the Olympics. I love the energy of the crowd during a big hockey game.
They are very strong. Another very popular sport on the ice is ice hockey. This is a team sport, and it is very different from figure skating. It is loud, fast, and very exciting. In Milan, they have built a new arena just for hockey. Two teams try to hit a small, hard black disc into the other team's net. We call that disc a puck. The players move so fast that it can be hard to see the puck with your eyes sometimes, but the action is constant.
What about the people who just race on the ice? I think they are called speed skaters. It looks very difficult because they have to lean so low to the ground. In the short track races, it is almost like a roller derby on ice. People sometimes crash into each other because the track is so small. It is very intense to watch, and the fans always scream when the skaters reach the finish line. It is amazing to see how much speed they can get just from their legs.
They do. They have helmets and big pads to stay safe. Now, if you like pure speed, you should watch speed skating. In Milano Cortina, this happens on a very long track. It looks like a running track, but it is covered in ice. There are two types, long track and short track. In short track, many skaters race at the same time in a small circle. They lean so low that they often touch the ice with their fingers to stay balanced in the sharp turns.
But then you have curling, which is so quiet. I like curling because it is a sport where you have to think a lot. You see the players talking and planning their next move. It is a great example of how the Winter Olympics has something for everyone, from very fast racing to very quiet and careful strategy. It is those small details that make the Winter Olympics so interesting and special to watch with your friends or family.
Now we are moving from the ice arenas of Milan to the beautiful white snow of the mountains. Most of these events happen in places like Cortina and Bormio. The most famous sport here is alpine skiing. This is what many people think of when they imagine the Winter Olympics. In alpine skiing, athletes go down a very steep mountain as fast as possible. They have to pass between plastic poles called gates. If they miss a gate, they are disqualified.
I love the names of those places, David. They sound so classic and European. Alpine skiing is truly the king of the winter sports. I always feel a little bit nervous for the skiers because the mountain looks so steep and dangerous. They wear very tight clothes to help them go even faster through the air. It is incredible how they can keep their balance on such slippery snow at such high speeds.
It is very dangerous, but they are professionals. In the 2026 Games, the men will race on a very famous slope called the Stelvio in Bormio. It is known for being one of the most difficult and bumpy hills in the world. For women, the races will be in Cortina on the Olimpia delle Tofane slope. These places are very beautiful, but for the athletes they are a big challenge. There are different types of races like the slalom where the gates are very close together.
It sounds like a very difficult competition. I prefer watching the snowboarding. It has a very different vibe or feeling. The snowboarders often have music playing and they seem very relaxed, even though what they do is very hard and technical. The big air event is another one I like. They jump off a huge ramp and do as many spins as they can. It is like watching a real-life action movie.
Snowboarding is another sport that many people love, especially younger fans. It is a bit newer than skiing. Instead of two skis, the athlete stands on one single board. In Milano Cortina, many of these events happen in a place called Livigno. My favorite event is the halfpipe. The athletes go inside a big tube made of snow and fly high into the air to do flips and spins. They are judged on how high they go and how difficult their tricks are.
Ski mountaineering sounds like the most difficult sport in the whole Olympics. I cannot imagine skiing up a mountain. Most people find it hard enough to just walk up a small hill. It really shows how the 2026 Games are trying to include sports that are popular in the local Italian mountains. It is a very traditional way of moving in the snow, but now it has become a world-class Olympic competition.
Lastly, there is ski jumping. This is one of the oldest and most traditional sports. Athletes ski down a very long ramp and jump into the air. The goal is to fly as far as possible and land safely. When they are in the air, they look like birds. They use their bodies and their skis to catch the wind. It is a very brave sport because the jump hills are very high. I think our listeners will find it amazing how these athletes can stay so calm.
Yes, they do look like birds! I have always wondered how it feels to fly like that through the air. They have to be so brave to jump off that giant ramp. The stadium at the bottom of the ski jump is always full of people cheering and ringing bells. It is one of the best moments for the fans. I think it is a great way to end our talk about the snow sports because it is so iconic.
Some of the most exciting things about the Winter Olympics are the sports that we don't see very often. These are the unusual sports. A great example is the sliding sports. We have three main ones: bobsleigh, luge, and skeleton. In all three, athletes go down the same icy track at very high speeds. In bobsleigh, a team of 2 or 4 people sits inside a large sled. They use a steering rope to guide it through the turns very quickly.
Bobsleigh always looks like a lot of fun, but I think I would be a bit scared. It is like a roller coaster, but made of ice and metal. I think it is amazing how the team has to work together to push the sled at the very beginning. That first push is the most important part of the race. If they are slow at the start, they cannot win the gold medal, no matter how good they are later.
Luge and skeleton are even more intense because the athletes are much closer to the ice. In luge, you lie on your back and go down the track feet first. But in skeleton, it is the opposite. You lie on your stomach and go down the track head first. Imagine going over 130 kilometers per hour with your face just centimeters away from the ice. It is one of the bravest things I have ever seen.
Going headfirst on a tiny sled in the skeleton sounds like a nightmare to me, David, but it is definitely exciting to watch. The athletes must have a lot of trust in their equipment and their own skills. I also think the biathlon is very interesting because it is so different. 1 minute you are skiing as hard as you can, and the next minute you have to be completely still to shoot. It is like 2 different worlds in one sport.
Another unique sport is the biathlon. The name comes from a Greek word that means 2 contests. It is a combination of 2 very different skills: cross-country skiing and rifle shooting. The athletes have to ski a long distance, which makes their hearts beat very fast. Then, they have to stop, pick up a rifle, and hit small targets 50 meters away. They have to calm their breathing and keep their hands very still to hit the target.
I think curling is becoming a cool sport now. People love the strategy and the special shoes they wear. One shoe is slippery, and the other shoe has a lot of grip, so they don't fall. It is those small details that make the Winter Olympics so interesting. There are so many specialized tools and clothes for every single sport. It is a very technical world that most people don't see every day.
Finally, we have curling. This sport is much slower, but it is very popular to watch on TV. It is played on a long strip of ice. One player slides a heavy stone toward a target called the house. The other players use brooms to sweep the ice in front of the stone. Sweeping actually melts the ice a little bit, which helps the stone go further. It is very strategic, like a game of chess, and Italy's team has become very good at it.
I also love how these sports bring out the local culture. For example, some of these sliding sports started as a simple way for people in the mountains to move around or deliver mail. Now they are high-tech Olympic events. It is a great reminder that even the most unusual sports have a very simple and practical history. It makes me respect the athletes even more for keeping these traditions alive for us.
Now let's talk about how a country prepares for such a massive event. As we mentioned, Milano Cortina 2026 is special because it is spread across northern Italy. Milan will host the ice sports and the big opening ceremony. This ceremony is very important because it is when the Olympic flame arrives. The flame travels from Greece all the way to the host city. It is a symbol of hope. In Milan, they are using a famous stadium for this.
I have seen the San Siro Stadium on TV, and it is huge. I can only imagine how beautiful it will look with the Olympic flame. Having 2 cauldrons, one in Milan and one in Cortina, is such a nice way to include everyone across the country. It makes the 2 cities feel like one big team. I think the opening ceremony is always my favorite part because you see the pride in the faces of all the athletes.
While Milan is busy with the ceremonies, the mountains in Cortina will be busy with the snow sports. One of the most important places for any Olympics is the Olympic Village. This is where the athletes live during the Games. For 2026, there will be several villages because the events are so far apart. These villages are like small towns. They have their own restaurants and gyms. It is a very friendly place where athletes from different countries can meet.
I would love to trade pins. I have heard that some people have thousands of them. It is a great way to make a new friend without even speaking the same language. You just show your pin, they show theirs, and you trade. It is also great that the 2026 Games are focusing on the environment. We need the snow and the cold winters for these sports to continue, so protecting the mountains is the most important job of all.
Preparing for the Games also means thinking about the environment. Italy wants to make these the most sustainable games ever. This means they are trying not to build too many new buildings. Instead, they are using buildings that already exist. They are also focusing on green transport, like trains and electric buses. This is very important because they want to show that we can have a big party for sports without hurting the beautiful nature.
The volunteers are the soul of the Games. Without them, nothing would work. It is a big commitment to work for 2 weeks for free, but the memories they make must be incredible. I think Milano Cortina 2026 will be a very warm and welcoming event because of that Italian hospitality. I am really looking forward to seeing how the whole country comes together for this and seeing the beautiful decorations in the streets.
It is also a big moment for the people who live in Italy. Thousands of people will work as volunteers. Volunteers are people who work for free because they want to help. They help the fans find their seats and make sure everyone is safe and happy. If you ever visit an Olympics, the volunteers are the people who will smile at you. It is a great way for local people to be part of history and show their hospitality.
It is also interesting how the cities will change after the Games. The Olympic Village in Milan will become a place for students to live. This means the Olympics will help the city for many years after the athletes go home. I love it when a big event like this leaves a good legacy for the local people. It makes the whole competition feel even more meaningful and positive for everyone involved.
We have reached the end of our journey through the Winter Olympics. I hope you enjoyed learning about the history, the fast sports on ice, and the beautiful events in the mountains of Italy. It is amazing to think about how much work goes into one event. From the first Games in 1924 to the modern Games in Milano Cortina 2026, the spirit of the Olympics remains the same. It is about bringing the world together.
It really was a long journey, but I learned so much. I didn't know that the first Games were in 1924, or that there were so many different types of sliding sports. It makes me want to watch the next Olympics even more. I hope our listeners feel the same way. Learning English is a lot like training for the Olympics. You have to be patient, you have to practice, and you have to have a good spirit.
Before we go, let's review a few easy English words we used today. We talked about sliding on the ice and using skates or skis. We learned about the puck in ice hockey and the gates in alpine skiing. We also mentioned the mascots, Tina and Milo, and the volunteers who help make the games possible. Using these words will help you talk to your friends about sports and the Olympics in your own English conversations.
Those are great words to remember. My favorite word from today is mascot. I think Tina and Milo are so inspiring. I will also remember puck and halfpipe. It is fun to learn the specific names for things. It makes the language feel much more real. I hope everyone listening tries to use at least one of these new words this week in their own practice sessions.
If you have a favorite winter sport, maybe you can try to describe it in English today. Is it the speed of the bobsleigh or the beauty of figure skating? Even just saying a few sentences can really help your speaking skills. We believe in you, and we know that practicing a little bit every day makes a huge difference. Just like an Olympic athlete, you need to practice every single day to get better at your skills.
That is a great challenge, David. I think I would choose figure skating because I love the music and the dancing. To our listeners, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Even the best Olympic skaters fall down sometimes. The important thing is that they get back up and keep going. That is exactly how you should feel about your English studies. Always keep moving forward and never give up.
Thank you so much for listening to Better English. We really hope this episode was helpful for your studies. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like the podcast and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us create more lessons for students all over the globe. We love hearing from you, so feel free to leave a comment if you have a question or a favorite sport.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for spending your time with us. We are so proud of your hard work. See you in the next episode for more fun and more English. Bye!
Your English journey does not end here. Watch more videos and keep practicing.